First of all, introducing our challenger.
Coming out of the blue corner.
He's going to step in and he does. It's all over.
Let's bring on the boom. This is Eternal MMA.
With your hosts, Cam O'Neill and Ben Vickers.
Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Internal Insiders podcast. Joining Cam and I today is a very, very special guest. He's the most experienced guest we've ever had on the show. It is the one and only Joe Lopez, coach to world champion Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Joe, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
We heard there was a bit of discontent that we hadn't invited you on, so we thought we'd correct that straight away.
Well, I was a bit hurt, you know. I should have been.
Was a true legend on the podcast, so we were saving it for our 14th episode.
Okay.
Here we are.
We wanted to get our viewer numbers up into double figures before we got you on.
First, it would have been the last.
So we got you on. So Joe, obviously you're just, as we were talking just before we started, you're just back from Yas Island, spent a fun-filled 14 days in quarantine, and then come back to the gym. I hear extremely happy and keen to be a friendly face to all the members.
Yeah, you know, I guess I wasn't the happiest chap back, but I'm back. I find everything's wrong. You know, I'm pretty, as a guy saying, a bit OCD. Everything's got to have a place, and everything's got to be somewhere. And if it's not, you know, it's got to roll.
Who was keeping the place in ship shape or not so ship shape for you while you were away?
No, they all did a good job. You know, I'm just, I think just with this latest sort of pandemic things down in Victoria, I came back and I was a bit paranoid. I just wanted to keep everything straight and narrow, and so it was more that sort of thing than anything else, you know. I just want to bubble tight, and I don't want people going out, you know, being out our sort of area. If they are, I don't around, and then just the normal hygiene and things that happen in the gym, you know, the unwritten laws, as I call them, you know, that people don't understand. Like if you go to the bathroom, you put shoes on, you know, make sure your toenails are cut,
Right.
That sort of stuff. I can testify to that because, you know, I spent 5 days in hospital because of fracture. I don't mind that in case he's listening.
I'm starting to think that whenever you actually get on a plane, you get into a hospital at the other side. That seems to be the norm these days. I mean, Chile, you ended up in a hospital in Chile as well with Alex. Then you come back from Yas Island, you end up in a hospital here with about a staph in your shin.
No, well, it wasn't staph. It starts as staph and then it turns to cellulitis. And I just put it down to it, you know, and then both times it was we did plane flights and then we had really long walks. Yeah. You know, but when we landed in Sydney, we probably had to walk, I reckon, probably 2 Ks, I reckon, because they just kept pulling you down. And yeah, it wasn't just, you know, you off. Though there wasn't many people, they really, it was a long. And the plane flight, I think it's the bacteria, I guess, developed. And the same happened in Chile when we got off the plane. They sent us one way, then they sent us another way, they sent us back, and then we got another plane. And then that's when Alex's blew up. Alex's blew up a lot worse than mine. I was okay, really. It looked a lot worse than what it was.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot worse than my leg, put it that way.
We've lost our host.
Yeah, you've scared them off. You've scared them off there, Joe.
That's
no, I hear there's a common denominator as well between you getting injured. There's always seems to be the one person involved.
Well, it's always Frankie. You know, Frankie. walking pizza. You know, the walking experiment. The blood, and they they took the blood samples and everything else, and they've sent them over. And I think, you know, sent it over to Russia, China, everywhere. They're trying to work out what this strain is. They could use this in the next, you know, if that's conspiracy theorists, as the next chemical warfare. Frank Hickman's, you know, stuff. It's deadly.
and he seems to like sharing it.
Well, he does. Well, he just can't help it. He's just a very unhygienic person, you know. And I'll put it out there. He is unhygienic, you know. I think if you get on the match, you at least got to have your toenails and your cut, you know. And that dirty grub didn't, you know. And I'm going to for it.
I bet he heard about it.
Well, yeah, but you don't know Frank Hickman. He is that guy. When you go to battle with him, it's a bomb. He's got the best.
So let's get on to some more positive things. Now you're a double world champion coach. Tell us a little bit about, not many people got to experience what you just experienced. So tell us a little bit about the last few weeks and how it's been and how satisfying it is to come back with the belt again. And yeah, give us a little insight into champ life.
I don't know. To me, it's just thing. Serious. Like, I don't think it's doing the same things that we've always done. You know, I think if you get caught up in it, I think you lose it. For me, yeah. Usual. So
there's no sense of accomplishment there for you that you reached the goal you set out to achieve all those years ago.
I don't know. I just want to. That's gone. I just want now. You know. To me, I'm satisfying watching some achieve. You know, just pretty crazy times where it's hard to have. It's, you know, like yourselves, you're lucky up there that, you know, you've kept playing pretty clean in Western Australia. Hopefully we can have some fights on there, you know. Maybe we can boys up from our clean place, because we're tight bubble and like to, you know, bring some guys if they let us do it. You know, if not, you know, it's just so sad what's really happening. You know?
Yeah. The microphone, Joe, sorry, keeps coming and going. Are you quite far away from the phone? Sorry. Yeah, it's just your microphone keeps coming and going. We're losing at the second or third word.
Is that better?
Yeah.
We're only getting 50% of you, Joe. We want 100% of Joe Lopez today, mate.
That's what I say to everyone at the gym. I want 100%.
That's way better. That's perfect.
That's much better.
It's a shame your face is a bit closer to the camera, but other than that, it's perfect.
Away. Maybe I should put the earphones in. I couldn't find the earplugs.
We're hoping to have a couple of events. One in September on the Gold Coast, and one in October in Perth. But as you said, this year's travelling. You know, fighters travelling out of Sydney and the Sydney area. You know, aren't going to be welcome too many places at this moment in time, and the same with Victoria, which makes it very, very difficult to put cards together in this country. And it must be so frustrating for you guys as well, you know, that one or two bad apples are spoiling.
Well, it is. You know, at the moment, I'm just trying to keep a tight bubble, and I think if everybody in New South Wales, Victoria shut themselves down, themselves just, I guess, till springtime, you know, if people can just shut themselves down, it'll be easier to do it now. In winter will be in, you know, summer and that, you know, because people are just going to want to get out. So I think if people can sacrifice a little bit now, I think it's going to pay, because it'll be just great for, you know, we could do some contact sport again, you know, and keep our sport alive, you know. But at the man, it's so disappointing, you know. And I guess that's why it is hard to think about the victory and everything else. So much going on, you know, that it's hard to take it all in, really.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, how was it? How was it living in the bubble on Yas Island? You know, like cutting about with your mask on, and was it weird or was it good? Was it a good laugh, or how was the trip?
Well, to start it all, we had to get a government clearance to do it. So we had people on the side, and once I got it, then I had to get like a team of guys together, and everyone I called out to came to the party, and we got like where we live down here, it's like a holiday place, so we got a cabin down there, and the boys moved down here, and we had this little tight bubble, over tested every week. I've had probably, I don't know, I've had a lot, probably 15, maybe less, more than 10, no more than 15. And it was the same, like once we left, when we got to Yas Island, we got tested. As soon as we got there, then we waited 24 hours. If it came clear, we got tested again. Then after that, we were let out, All the staff that were there, they'd been there for 2 weeks, tested. The security guys that were there would get tested every 72 hours, poor bastards. Because it's not, especially in Australia where they do both, they do and throat, their nose, and it's not. Some people are better than others. That's what I can say. but the whole experience, even when we were there, we were locked down, go out a bit, but man, it's a hot place. That might be so hot. But we had our training area, and we were with the boys, and having fun, and that was the most important thing, because MMA, when you're out there, it's an individual sport, but we were a team, and our team was there, and we were there for each other.
we got to see quite often a lot of the guys were out racing cars round about the tracks. Did you manage to put in a few laps?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was a good experience. And a couple of days later, like Eugene didn't want to do it. He's a man and all that. No, these guys are cool. They know what they're doing, and they did. They took us around. They looked after. It was a fun experience. And when you're in the car, you don't think you're going that. Till you're sitting on the side and you're watching the boys go past and they're flying. And then just after we left, one of the other trainers was out there, and his car was because they got different type of cars. The cars that do the where they go sideways. What are they called?
The
Drifters.
Sorry?
The
Drifting.
Yeah, the drifting. Yeah, one of them guys lost it. I went in one of the one cars, and that was dues or something. It was fast.
Was there restrictions on fighters not being allowed to drive the cars before their fights, or were people just allowed to do what they wanted?
No, there was no restrictions on that. The UFC done it as content, you know what I mean? We were there. Now, the hotel itself is sitting on the racetrack, so when they're racing these cars around, you hear them, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a bit of a blow. You can sit on your balcony and you're looking over the racetrack. So when they do the Formula Ones there, that's the hotel to be at. You know? The in the middle of the racetrack. In fact, during race, it'd be so naughty.
And we get to fight day and the actual fight itself. How was it fanless? Was it weird?
Yeah, it was a bit weird. I mean, like before the fight, we had the problem with USADA coming in, you know, after 9 o'clock to take our sample off Alex. That was pretty weird. No, I lost it as I do, you know. Because
why? What's the deal with the after 9 o'clock? They're not supposed to come after 9 o'clock.
Well, you got to think we were fighting first thing in the morning, so we had to be downstairs, be ready to be taken to the arena at 5 a.m. So,
Wow.
and we were fighting around 7 o'clock in the morning. So we changed our whole schedule to be, going to bed really, really early, so like guys were asleep at 7, so you get a bit early, and we were training early and get up at 3 o'clock, and, sit around, have a coffee, have a chat, we'd all eat maybe whatever time we were under no pressure, but we were all to this. What we normally do is we try and think every training session as the day we're going to fight, and we do it from the start of the fight camp. Also, just certain training sessions in our schedule, and for that guy to come in at 9 o'clock, it was, or after 9, and then I had to wake up, and then couldn't, got to do a urine test, he couldn't start water loading, and by the time he left, it was after 10, and then he had to try and get back to sleep. Anyway, it's just something that shouldn't happen. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
I got it earlier in the day. Like I said to the guy, mate, I said, can't you come in first? You can come back here at 3 o'clock. Come back this time. Come back that time. We're not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? You can see us on camera. You can have someone sitting here, but why do it now? Like I was putting my argument before I weighed Alex, and he said no. He wanted Alex at that time, which, like I said, I thought it was really rude. And then the next day, not only not having the crowd, Alex just was pretty flat, in the morning. He's normally a morning person, pretty flat. I think that, not saying it played a part, but he really wanted a long warm-up, which we do our warm-ups, but he just wanted to be, keep going. Normally we do a little bit, have a rest, half stretch it. Wanted to, and I think he just ended up being a bit flat when we started. To his credit, I thought Alex, it was a close round in that first round. Alex just, and Max stopped around, I think, because he got the flash knockdown. After that, again, they were still pretty holding their own. Max was getting a couple of, again, he got another flash knockdown with that uppercut. And then after that, I started he getting tired. Max was getting tired, especially once Alex started to put, pressure on him. I think Alex started to get the better of, round, fourth round and fifth round, where he got him down. Not many people have ever got him down.
I thought it was a super close fight. I was a bit surprised. I watched the Dana White in the post-fight press conference, and he was up in arms about it, saying it was a robbery and it's a disgrace. And all. I didn't think it was like that at all. For him to come out and say it was a robbery was ridiculous for me.
But you got to, and he's guilty of it. When you're looking at a fight and you're looking at that guy trying to win, you only see the things that he
correct,
and you don't. Guys doing, and I did that too, and that's why we rewatch the fights and we slow them down and we do it. And if you do that and have time to do it, a lot of people say, yeah, want to bark out loud. Take the time to watch the fight. Even slow down, then you can see that Alex clearly wins it. It's a close fight. Don't get me wrong, it's a close fight, but I think enough.
My point was going to be: do you feel like Dana had an agenda that he wanted Max to win? He wants Max to be the champion. Do you feel like that, or do you think it was just?
And it all goes down to, it's a popularity contest. Max. You look into her and social media. Max has got X amount of followers. Alex has, and Alex will get those. Don't get me wrong. Have the Max same as Alex. Train all his followers after he smashed Ortega. You know what I mean? Before that, they didn't want Max to win either, but Max kept winning. You know,
Yeah.
and at the same boat Max was, and I think that's why Max sympathised a lot. And I think both those, level and everybody else is like they're competitive, but those two guys do stand out in the division. And everybody else is a step down. And I'd like to, Max have a go at, one of the guys, and Alex to start having a go at the other guys. You don't just want to see them two boys going at it. You know what I mean? You want it'll build more hype for their third fight, which I think will happen. But I think they both should have a couple of other fights, make some money, and then at the end make a big money fight.
Without a doubt. I mean, taking off my fan hat and putting on my promoter hat, I don't see how it's even a conversation, a third fight. I really don't. It's a hard sell to everybody who isn't a Max Holloway fan, especially for a pay-per-view, to try and sell it as a pay-per-view again. To anybody apart from Max Holloway fans, it's going to be a difficult sell. I think exactly as you say, I think that what the promotion would be looking to do is build a bit more hype about a potential third fight if Max earns the ability to get there, which, is not a given. Coming off the back of day two fights, you don't know how he's going to bounce back against another opponent and somebody who maybe thinks to themselves, Max no longer is unbeatable in this division. We can do something here. So, it's...
I personally, I don't see it that way. I think, not only Max has got, like, he's a very tough individual. He's very hard to take down, very good fight IQ, but he's also got a team behind him, I think we do it better, and we are better, but you can't take that away from the guy, and...
No, without a doubt. Not taking anything away from him, just saying that it's not a given that he earns that place back again,
What I'm trying to get at, that's how good Alex is, because I think Max would got in that top 10 smoke, and Alex has beaten him twice, you know what I mean? And that shows you the caliber of how good Alex is, By training, the kid has got that, he's very athletic. He ticks all the, he'd be a handful for anybody, he is,
Yeah. Well, it must, like, for me, having watched, like, Alex back in the day struggling to get fights and fighting out of his weight class, and it's just so nice to see that his patience and his tenacity and everything is paid off, because he's genuinely one of the good guys. He's the nicest fella you'll ever meet. He hasn't changed. Like, he's just Alex, and he's always been like that. But it was really hard for him to get fights, right? Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, no one wanted to bar him.
Well, it wasn't as a bar. I think it was just very hard to get into the UFC to start with, because they looked at Australia, and no disrespect to any of the guys that were there, because some of the toughest and some of them really good guys, but they just looked at, they just wanted some local guys in there, and then, with Rob Whittaker and Alex, and then all the guys from New Zealand, they just started taking notice. So now guys here, they want them in, because they know that there's be champions here, I think just the caliber of training has just increased. Where before people used to say you have to go to America or you had to go here to train. You don't need that anymore, because we've got some great coaches here and we've got some really good competitors. I just wish we could open it up and do it all,
Yeah. My point was more like Alex's road was pretty tough because he was such a killer that no one really wanted to fight him. So just getting those fights in Australia was difficult.
Well, that was, and it was hard to get fights anyway. Like, we went to Guam and we won the world title there, and like I said, in Australia, and then we missed out trying to get in, because there wasn't, like I said, there wasn't many opportunities to get into the UFC. The UFC wasn't looking unless you were a, how could I say, you know, like a Ben Ewan, you made a little splash on media in there. They weren't looking for guys, and they needed some guys, but it was really, really hard. And the only way you could really get in was, you know, through one of those shows that they were putting on, you know, the fighter ones, or you came in as a late replacement, and you know that's how Alex got in, as a late replacement.
Yeah, and ever since then he's undefeated in the UFC, right? He's blazed the trail right through it, and he's where he belongs for me. Like, I think a lot of us who watched him in the early days, we kind of knew where he was going to end up. You know, it was inevitable, really.
Yeah, he is, and like I say to people, unless you stand in front of that guy and feel he wants to put that pressure on you, it might look easy, but it's something else, beast of it, you know. And he's, you know, Beauty and the Beast. You know, outside, he's a nice guy, but then inside there, he's just a beast, you know.
Yeah, his work rate's phenomenal. No, his output and his work rate's phenomenal in there. It really is. Yeah. But all your boys are like that, Jordan. You've had the pleasure of having a few of your boys on the cards over the years, and we find all their work rates are good. I mean, I think the first boy we ever had from freestyle was Orkin, and we were blown away with his work rate that night in Perth. And his boxing as well, very tidy boxing, very tidy footwork, and set a pace throughout the full night. You know, so it must be something you instill into the fighters there in one day.
Yeah, well, it's all about, you know, number one for me is the guys have got to be fit, you know. Skill level and everything else comes after that, because, you know, you can be the most skillful guy, but if you haven't got a gas tank, you're going to go down, you know. A guy with pressure will just wear you out. So I always, they've got to give me that time, you know. And don't get me wrong, I've had bad ones, but a lot of times if they don't give me the time, I won't even corner them, you know. They've got to give me their time. The other thing is, once you get a lot of fighters, it's hard to be there one, you know, but you know, you try your best to be there for everyone. As you guys know, that's a fight game. But at the gym, you know, we've got like you know, the fighters stick to a sort of schedule. We've got a schedule that we keep to, and that's why they always come in, you know, in good nick, you know.
Yeah. And have you found, like, in the gym, since Alex has become famous, if you like, and become the world champion, have you had, like, people coming in wanting to train there more, or is it the same as always?
Yeah, we look, you got to look at two sides of it. You know, you've got the average person, the average Joe Blow, that now most gyms, that's where they make their money. That sometimes scares people away, because they think, wow, you know, he's the champion. You know, got all these really good guys here. I'm not going to be good enough. And so it does scare some people away, but it's further from the truth. You know what I mean? We do different classes for different people, but everybody had to start somewhere, you know, including Alex, you know. So everyone was a beginner at one stage. So that sometimes is a little bit there. Pre-COVID, you know, we were getting, you know, people from all around the world wanting to come and train, and we've had a lot of people from around the world come and train with us, you know, just to, you know, come and train with the champ and experience it. And, you know, we've got a really, you know, very easygoing environment. There's a lot of banter and that, but there's also a lot of discipline. And like I said, we've got schedules that we to get to a certain point if you're going to fight, and if you're not going to fight, you know, the way we cater for is, you know, to better yourself.
And how do you find working with Eugene, like a meeting of minds, really? Like, you two have got so much experience and you put so many fighters in such a high level. Is it like a synergy, like you just work together and it gels really well, or does Eugene take care of one thing and you take care of another thing? Or,
No, we talk things out. We'll sit there and talk about fighting, and we both got a love of fighting, watching fighting, learning fighting. We're still both learning, and we just look at what we've got to work with, and our job as being in his corner, being as his coach or whatever is just the best thing for the fighter. There's no ego, there's no wrong or right. It's just if we're looking after Alex, it's what's best for Alex. And if it's Brad, it's best for Brad. If it's Colby, it's best for Colby, and that's what as coach, you've got to let that ego go, and you think about your fighter and what's best.
And you're very good at that, Joe. You and Alex have travelled about in the lead up to fights usually. You spent a little bit of time in New Zealand or spent a little bit of time in Thailand. But this one was very different. Obviously, with the travel restrictions, you put together a special little team, so to speak. Down roundabout again. You brought people in from all over Australia to travel. How do you think that? Did you think that benefited you, or do you think it was? Was it better than the travel, or was it a different experience?
No, it was a really good camp. I can't. There were a lot of team here that he normally works with, and then his physios, everything else. So that was a really big part. So as far as his body was really, really good. We also used a lot more technology this camp. We used our Mega Wave, the Polaris, heart monitors and everything else. And he had his family as well. There was a lot of positives, and then we got to have these high Australian guys to come down and commit, and they were really, really good.
And that was something I like. That was something I really liked to see. I like to see the group of people that you had round about you there. You had Brenton's obviously worked with Alex extensively over the years, and been very friendly with him. But bringing in the likes of, your Trent Girdhams and your Alan Philpotts and your Blake Donnellys, etc. It's only got to have, even though they were all there specifically for Alex, each one of them will have took some fabulous learnings away from being there and being involved in that camp, as well as probably a hell of a lot of enthusiasm as well for their own future. So, I think it was something that would probably not only have benefited Alex, but it's probably benefited the greater good of, the Australian MMA community as well.
Oh, of course. And all those you just mentioned, all very talented. They're all, they'd give anybody a handful. And yourself in a lot of these guys, and they're all in themselves, great fighters, and it'd be great to see them, in the big show, the UFC one day. They're all talented enough really to do it. It's just whether that opportunity comes up for them. There is a lot of good fighters around the moment. Shine out there.
Yeah. And look, I think everybody that you actually had in that camp, we had been offering fights to as well, and we'd probably have had every single one of them matched up, or we've had every one of them matched up, but the travel restrictions has curtailed that. So hopefully by next year, we'll get to see a lot more of the boys. But Colby was obviously getting to spend the time in the camp as well, and around about all these type of boys. And with him coming off the back of such a successful IMAF amateur career, when's when you're looking to move him pro, and what's your hopes for Colby?
Well, look, our plans were to get him maybe a couple of kickboxing fights. That was our plan, and then turn him pro. But everything's up in the air. At the moment, we'd be happy. I spoke to another promoter in Sydney. The only thing we might be able to do is do studio shows, but at the moment, we don't even want to do even that. I think we just want everything to clear up here, so we can be, as much as I'd like to hate it, like New Zealand, where we can have, as long as we can clear it from the community, then we can just carry on like normal and have some shows. It's just so sad that we can't.
Yeah, and look, Ben will experience that every day in the gym as well. Probably frustration from his boys. Everybody I speak to, and my own daughter, obviously, I'm hearing it from them as well.
Yeah,
just desperate to fight. There were so many. Pardon me, sorry. There were so many people right at that point. Such a good point in their career, and had built up a lot of good momentum that that's been taken away from them, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of pace they set when they come back. If the hunger and the frustration actually makes them perform better, or whether or not they maybe fell out of love a little bit with the sport, with the frustration. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens there.
Yeah, we will. And it's even hard for let's see if these guys are going to be let out. That like Trent's got, I know, a fight coming up in the UEA again but let's see if the government allows them to leave and then come back. One
Like
thing.
me, I just left and came back.
You
My
missed
phone
it.
died. I'm having a shock.
But yeah, let's see. And I know there's a few of the people that want to fight in Bellator, as well, and Martin Ewan, with ONE FC. Let's see if they let these people out to go out and fight. If they have to self-quarantine, that's, they have to do it. We did it. But, let's hope that they let them out,
Yeah, sorry, boys. I missed a lot of that, but it's a really difficult landscape to do anything at the moment in the world. It's so uncertain. Everything's changing all the time. You get something sorted, and then something's got to change, and it's fucking tiresome, isn't it? But there's nothing we can do. We just got to keep working the best we can and keep the boys motivated and try and get them fights where we can. Like you say, fortunately here in Perth, like, I've got a whole local show matched up for October. So, we don't need the borders to open. And I kind of think it's for the best in Perth at the moment if we just stay as we are with all the shit that's going around. It seems to be pretty well under control here, and we don't want to go back. I couldn't shut my gym down again. I think it would just do me in.
It needs to be shut. I think, New South Wales needs to be shut. And I've been saying to people all day, I've had talks about this. The greater part of Sydney should go down to like a level 3 restriction for a few weeks, even till just September. Down here where we are, we're like an hour and a half away. We're, like I said, more a bit of a country town sort of thing. So what scares me is people from there coming down here, or people from up going up that part of Sydney and then bringing something down. Like that truck driver from Victoria, he stopped at Bateman Bay, dropped it there. He came actually to the Illawarra. They only got one person, and I think one or two, and that was it. And then it's all been stopped. But then he went up to Sydney and got on the piss, and that's where it caused all the problems up there. Like I said, we're lucky down here that it all got shut down. But up there, it's they're only getting 10 or 12 cases a day, but man, it's easy to jump, And then you don't want that problem what happened in Victoria, because that's just
they're doing it pretty tough at the moment. And I think the problem up there is people have stopped giving a fuck. They just want to be out and doing their thing, and it's never gonna, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. That's the problem. But hopefully now they've shut them down, and hopefully they don't have to spend too long. I couldn't imagine psychologically going back and being told I have to stay in my house again. Like, I don't know how I'd go back there. Like, it would be tough. Obviously you get through it, but mentally it would be a big struggle. Like, to have to do all that all over again.
Yeah, it can be, it all depends where you live. I live on the beach, and You know, my place is pretty cool. I'll enjoy lockdown, you know.
Well,
I hate
quarantine at Joe's.
But I can feel someone that has to live in a unit or something like that, you know. It would be
or
sad.
someone that's got 2 small children at home driving you absolutely mental, you know.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
Me and my dog.
Not that was me. I'm not necessarily. If you're listening, love, I'm not meaning our children, you know.
I had to spend 6 weeks with Frank Hickman in one room. Huh?
What did you learn? Did you learn anything in that 6 weeks?
Sorry?
Did you learn anything in that 6 weeks with Frank Hickman outside of wrestling?
Yeah, stay away.
Steer well clear. Is that? Right, Joe. Unfortunately, I've got to go and teach a class. I'd just like to finish up. First of all, by saying congratulations on everything you've achieved as a fellow coach, as a friend. I'm so pleased for you and Alex and everyone involved with you guys. It's awesome, but it's amazing that you're flying the flag for the sport in our country. And congratulations. And I know you don't like to dwell on these things, but I hope one day you look in the mirror and really appreciate what you actually achieved, because not many are going to do it, and it's pretty special.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, I think Alex and I are a bit the same. We're just still the same blokes we normally are. So, I mean, it does mean something to me, but I'm just still me, you know.
And that's what makes the two of you so special, you know. And
we was hoping you'd change. I'm a better bloke.
I'm so special though, because you are just good blokes, you know. You're out there doing a job, you know, and that's how you see it, and you do your job very well. And you know, you look, as you say earlier, to get on to the next one. But all the accolades that you're receiving are well deserved, you know, and couldn't happen to nicer people. Well done.
Oh,
and just for anyone that's listening who's starting their career or is a young pro, have you got any like simple things that they can do or follow to maybe follow in your guys' footsteps one day? I mean, I know work hard.
Wear your shoes to the toilet.
Wear
your shoes to the toilet.
You just got to show up. That's the biggest thing. You got to show up. You know, it's you can sit at home and think about it and everything, but you got to go. You got to go there. You know, you put time on the mat, you're going to get. You know, you're going to get that time for your, you know, to put your hand up, your hand held up, you know, at some time. So you just need to put that time in.
Yeah, I like to say, so I get people coming in and they tell you, I want to do this and I want to do that. And all I ever say to you is, show me. Don't tell me, show me. Be here day in, day out, week in, week out, and show me that what you're talking about is true. Because everyone talks about it. Just show me.
And we've been around the traps for a while, and we've all had those people, you know, that say, yeah, I want to be the next champ and all that. And like I always say, mate, I said, you know, you give me a couple of months here of constant training, and then we'll talk about it. But you've got to give me that first, and then I'll listen, and then I'll give you what you need to do if you really want to go down that way. That's all you can do, you know, as a coach.
Yeah, perfect. Great advice. Great advice. Couldn't agree more. And yeah, I wish you all the success. Hopefully, New South Wales gets back to normal, and you can carry on doing what you love doing, which is creating champions and bringing fellas around the country and around the world to fight.
Yeah, it'd be good. Hopefully, we can catch up soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, Joe. Well, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it. We know you're a celebrity now, so
you're fun.
we'll send the check. All right, the check's coming.
Yeah,
it might bounce, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's this is a $30,000 podcast. Ash from Engage said he would cover at all costs. Yeah, because he's a
sweet. He's a good man, isn't
he? He is.
Man.
30,000 for me to do a podcast, he said, as long as I mention his name 3 times. Ash.
All right, Joe. On that note, on that bombshell, we shall wrap this thing up. Thanks again. And anywhere, I know you do social media. Is anywhere anyone can follow you or the gym or what they're doing or?
Freestyle MMA. I don't do much social media. Other people do it for me. That's the sort of person I am. But yeah,
is that why it took you 4 hours to get on this Zoom call? Or?
Yeah, no, I do them all the time. With my phone, I have to reset it.
Oh, there you go.
Times.
Just threw it against the wall. All right, cheers, Joe. Take care, mate. We'll speak to you soon.
Yeah,
Thanks,
mate.
Joe. See you, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
Yeah.